Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
Being a skilled cleaning technician is so much more complex than people think. If I can get like 6 to 10 months out of someone, I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord.
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMaid. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, the cleaning business podcast. And I'm your host, Stephanie Pipkin. Today's guest, Dayane, is the owner of Washe Cleaning Services, and she has quite the incredible story. And I can't wait for you guys to hear her entire story, as well as kind of the unique combination of multiple businesses at once with her partner. So, Dayane, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's such a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have grown your business to darn near $1 million in revenue now. And when did you start your business?
I started I was going to say my whole experience was when I arrived to the US. I'm from Brazil. Mm-hmm. So coming to a different country and, starting over was a very, unique thing for me, like very different. And, so that's how I started the cleaning business. It was, I need to do something, to survive. And I was looking at all the areas to work, and everything else seemed to not have the potential growth as I saw on the cleaning business. So I started going as a helper, in other cleaning companies, and I learned, get experience, with other people. And then I was like, I think it's time for me to start, my own business. And I think that was in 2 years I started.
Wow. And I think I saw, did you not know English when you came to America?
Not a single.
Oh my gosh. So in 2 years you were learning English as well. Like, that's amazing.
Yes. So when I arrived, I decided to dedicate to learn the process of the cleaning business as well as English. So I hired a teacher and I really dig down everything. I try to study as much possible so I could, potentially grow. Because yes, I do tell everyone that you do not need to know fully English. Because especially here in Florida where we are, there's a lot of immigrants. And I always advise them, you do not need a full English to make your business happen. But if you do have it, it's more opportunities for you to grow because networking is out there and we needed to communicate, right? Mm-hmm. So
what areas were you, going from that transition of working in others' companies to opening your own? Was there any areas that were really nerve-wracking or you felt the least certain in when it came to like running and operating the business? Or were you kind of like me where it's just like I was very naive and I was grateful for that being naive because I was like, it's all going great and it's not hard until I actually like bumped up against those things. So do anything stand out for you?
Honestly, no, that's actually a good question, but not really. I was actually I think I was on the naive side too. Mm-hmm. I was willing to just go everywhere because all I wanted was to grow. So I think until to this day, we're still like, we're okay going everywhere. But of course, we just have like some areas I think you just need to be more smart about it. Mm-hmm. But I think as long as you're aware of, I think you should be fine,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And knowing that we all have areas to grow and still to this day, no matter like you're always growing, you're always learning and not expecting like yourself to be perfect. And truly it is just a practice and we mess up, whether that be like sales or closing sales or pricing. Like, I mean, we've all made pricing mistakes, every single one of us where we've completely underbid or had to hang our head and go back to the customer and say, I need more money.
Pretty much. Oh, that happens especially when you just started. That happens all the time. And to this day, I still have clients that, it's the old clients with the old price and it's hard to change, but, keep it over there. It's good to have the old clients as well.
Yeah.
But speaking about that, it's very interesting because right now we do have areas that we used to work a lot there, and we don't offer service anymore. It's not that we don't, but it's very rare that we offer service in those areas or marketing all those areas because they're not our potential clients. They're not in our range. So
I gotcha. So who would you define is your like ideal client? Because you guys do mostly residential, right?
Yes, most of residential. Our ideal client is, the regular household of family that work, medium family of, I don't know, with 2 kids, 4 kids sometimes, and they work full time, regular jobs. It's not the rich people. I always advertise our company as an affordable cleaning service, and that's on purpose. Like a lot of times, I have friends that we're share experience, and they want the rich clients. Yep. We don't we don't advertise for the $1 million houses. That's just a thing for us because we're not in there. Yeah, so
I know because those people are definitely can be out of touch as to like what is an appropriate price, or it really depends. I've seen a huge spectrum on that, like really wealthy. I've also seen them be very unreasonable and also fairly disrespectful as well, where those kind of like middle class folks, super respectful, super appreciative because they're very busy. Not saying rich people can't be incredibly busy. Obviously, they're rich for a reason, but that doesn't mean the middle class is not a wonderful place to target and also just feel very appreciated as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. And honestly, it's a bunch of, for you to draw what is your perfect potential client, I think you need to do a bunch of combination. It's the same that we do for our cleaners as well. Not everyone it's made to work for us, It's a bunch of small combinations that you as a company needs to, create your checklist. And it's for us, we find out that it's more easy for us to work with those middle class clients. It's, it's a range, it's bigger, it's bigger on volume too, like of people, that more houses we can get, more clients we can get. And those richer clients, it's, it's smaller, it's a small percentage. So it's harder to target those people. And, I think the competitive, it's way more bigger in those areas. So we're out. We live this fight.
Yeah. Well, and Florida in general is, I think that's the biggest number of cleaning services are in Florida, I believe. Florida, Texas, Georgia, I know have really high numbers of cleaning businesses. And that's just going off of I know where ZenMaid's customers are in, Florida, Texas, Georgia. There's a ton of them because lots and lots of cleaning business and lots of people who are interested in, I think, outsourcing cleaning. So when it comes to competition from other businesses, early on, was there anything you did to stand out, or how were you getting your customers in the beginning?
In the beginning, I was very big on the Facebook group communities. And that's the tip that I give to all my friends that it's just starting. It's go out there, because as a cleaning, I was just a cleaning lady. I wasn't a cleaning business. Even if I had everything set up, there is a difference, and I knew that I was just a cleaning lady, and I wanted people to feel comfortable on trusting me as, hey, I'm here. I'm Dayane. I'm just starting this, I need some job. I need some clients, and people were willing to give me an opportunity. Today, I know that they're giving the company the opportunity, and they know it's not me going over there, do a cleaning. It's my team, and there is a whole, structure of company that I didn't have before. So I started like this, as a, a young kid trying to, get some clients here and there. And it was good because I gained a lot of experience and trust and a lot of referrals. And I think that was very important to me to build my confidence to have the company structure like we have right now.
Something or a question I see often in the Facebook groups, and I know I experienced this challenge as well, is when I was the main cleaner, just as you were for your clients, and trying to get them off of me onto cleaners, and everybody's like, how do you do that? And I guess my answer is that is not like a snap your fingers and it happens. Like, it was very painful for me because, cleaners didn't work out, or they sucked, or whatever the situation. And that client is like, see, I only want you. Like, you're the best. And while that feels good, it doesn't feel good as a business owner, because you're like, I need to get out of the field. So do you have any practical advice for our listeners when it comes to like making that transition actually happen and stick?
Yes, I do. We transitioned that actually a couple times, like during the process, it was different. One thing that I think the most important thing is to be aware that you might lose client, and you should be okay with that. That's the rule number one. Don't be afraid of losing clients, because sometimes you will. Sometimes people is not willing to stay with your company if it's not you out there, and they do want. I think that's when I mentioned the difference between you being a cleaning lady and you being a cleaning business. It's the client, sometimes they want a cleaning lady. They want someone that they want to stick with that person. And when you wanted to switch your company to this bigger level, I guess, you need to understand that your company is not going to be a match for maybe your old clients. Maybe it's not what they're looking for. So accepting that, I think it's already, a relief from your shoulders, the pressure of, oh my goodness, I'm losing clients. Yeah, you're losing, but you're going to get more. And these new ones is going to be in your new system. They don't know the old system. So I think that if I knew that before, I would be more relief. And the second thing is to go step by step. Don't just go away like that, because if you just disappear and you start sending people, yes, they're going to feel uncomfortable. But if it's the same to this day. If we have cleaners, we have a team, and the work didn't stop. It's the same when you transition. It's the same still to this day. If we have a team and this team for some reason didn't work out with us, our clients were used to with them. So we tell, hey, we had this cleaner, something happened, so and so it's not in the company anymore. We are sending a new one, but hey, we're going to go out there. We're sending our trainer we're going to check, we're going to follow up. Hey, how was so we have a structure that we need to follow up very hardly with this client, because we wanted to make sure that they understand that we care very dearly about them. And I think that's the major thing that we always do.
Yeah, the follow-up process, and don't just like think that, it's kind of, it's the easy way out of being like, oh, great, I can put this cleaner on there and I don't have to go or anything. It's like, no, it's not that easy if you want this to be a successful transition. And even we experienced that recently. We did a promotion to my, former cleaning tech, Hannah, and she got a promotion for a reason, and she is now our lead trainer, and she does all of the quality control and stuff, and like she's the perfect person for it. However, her clients, that was a tough one. They wanted her because clearly she's very, very good. That's why we're having her be the trainer. And so what we did was we literally had Hannah go to I had the new assigned cleaner, who was still like probably a seasoned cleaner, but those clients that were just so like in love with her, we had them go at least 2 times with Hannah so that they learned the house. Even though we follow standardized checklists, we just wanted to make sure we nailed it, since it was a pretty big, like all at once transition, meaning we were getting a bunch of clients off of her. So we didn't want to like have a bunch of people unhappy at once. And honestly, it went so smoothly because we took that time. They went several times. We made sure the notes were super accurate, because that's a great tip too, I think, is that even if you follow checklists like we do, we standardize everything, it doesn't mean that you don't add specific notes to different clients' houses to make that next cleaner successful. And that's something you can tell your cleaners to do is, hey, if you want to make sure that this client is happy, like they're very particular about the corners of the floors or whatever. And then you can just make sure that you're nailing it. You're not getting an unnecessary complaint.
Absolutely. And one thing that at least we've noticed here, and for me, it's a very big thing that I understand about clients. Sometimes they don't care about the cleaning itself. It's not about the cleaning. You can check lists. The girls can check every single thing and get a perfect clean done. It's about the face. They saw their face. They like that person. It's about the person that was there.
It's so intimate. Like they're in your house.
And they're like, it's kind of like I hear from my clients, oh, the cleanings are amazing, but you set the bar so high. We loved you. So it's about us, because it's not just the cleaning itself. The teams does an amazing job, but it's the fact that we care a little bit. It's the touch, it's the approach. It's how we talk. It's a
remembering their kids' names and asking about them. It really is such a personality thing as well. And that's why for hiring cleaners, it's not just about can they clean. Being a skilled cleaning technician is so much more complex than people think. Yes. And I know that you freaking nail it with your team and finding great people, having really good retention. So, I definitely, I want to focus heavily on that in this conversation because you are so good at it to have basically no turnover, right? For years, you have the same people, which is amazing. In our industry, if I can get 6 to 10 months out of someone, I'm like, oh, thank you, Lord. Because it's a very high turnover industry, even if you do have an amazing culture. So please share with us, share your secrets.
You know what is interesting, Stephanie? We actually just had a very major transition since October. We had a system in our company, which was the commission system, and it was very good and amazing for years. But we are starting to, so what happened was all the cleaners that we had could choose their own schedule. With the size of the company, it worked. But
I'm how? Please, how would that work?
It's complex, but it worked, and we're very happy with that. We did that since the start of this actual company, because I started 7 years ago, and then in about 3 years ago, I merged with my partner. She had her own business, I had mine, and we decided to combine because the operational, we was requesting a lot. And if I would hire a lot of people to help me, I would rather just have a partner. For me, it made more sense for her. Same. So we just decided to merge.
Before we go into the culture stuff and your hiring, did you guys use the same name or come up with a new business name, or what happened there?
We came up with a new business name.
Okay. So it was a new rebranding, basically.
Exactly. And we did that on purpose to make sure that the client understood that was a major change on the business, and we didn't keep any of our old stuff. So we decided to do just a brand new thing. So she closed her company, I closed mine, and we decided to build a brand new one.
And all your staff merged together into one company.
All this stuff merged together too. Which one of the reasons we decided to merge was we're friends and we're using our stuff together. She had her clients and she was like, hey, my girl today couldn't do it. Can you send your girl? And we're changing stuff. So their stuff was already, they knew her. And so it was a very crazy thing, but it was working, but we were let's make this formal. We need to organize this better. So it was a phase that we were really trying to structure the company really well and, take the step to do that. And then last year, we decided to study a lot about how to grow the business. And scale the business even more. And we realized that with the dynamic that we had inside of the company, it wasn't working for the scheduling. Juliana, my partner, she's the one that deals with the scheduling daily, and she was going crazy,
losing her mind.
Losing her mind. It was a lot of change because we gave, so I think one of the big things we had was the fact that we have this inside of the company, and major of the other cleaning companies didn't have that. So I think our retention and people willing to work with us was so high because this was very new. The cleaner could choose hey, I can work with you on Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, and Tuesday and Thursday, they can have their own clients. They can do their own thing. They can work for somebody else if they want.
So you have independent contractors then, or are these employees?
No, it was independent contractors.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So everybody was independent contractors and they can choose their schedule. And we had only few, I would say half of the stuff was part-time and the other half was full-time. But even the full-time sometimes was a little hard to deal with their scheduling. So we decided to change that. Last October, we start the transition. And unfortunately, a lot of people didn't want the new system. We knew, that was okay. We knew that once you were in a set, you don't want to be an employee, and work on terms. So we did this change, but it was very successful. We didn't lose, a lot of clients, which was great. And also we had something that was very beautiful to see. On Christmas, we did our annual Christmas party, and we saw how much it was beautiful to keep, the teams together. To this day, we still have, this team culture, and all the new girls that we just have hired could hear and see and feel all this. So it's beautiful to see, the progress of something. Even if you change stuff, it didn't mean that the doors are closed. They can come back and work for us at any time. But the good part is we had a lot of these old people that we let it go contacting us to trying to come back.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it was beautiful. See, like, we're like, wow, that's amazing. And it's so beautiful to see things like that. And it, just like you said, we had one of the technicians too. We promoted her to be our trainer because we wanted more the quality control. So she's someone that's with us since we opened, so 3 years now. And it's nice, it's nice for you to have people that's willing to, put the shirt on and say, hey, I'm here for you guys, because we're here for them too. So it's a combination of two things.
Gosh, you just said so many things. My mind's just like going like in like a million different questions and everything. And overarchingly, like the theme I think I'm getting from what you're saying is what got you to where you are at a certain stage for our listeners, whatever got you to, 50 appointments a month, 100 appointments a month, that's not necessarily going to cut it to get you to 200. Or if we want to talk about revenue, get you from 10 grand a month to 100 grand a month. It's not going to be the same stuff. You're going to have to evolve. And some things that were working really well, it does not scale. So like what you're describing with the scheduling of like letting them do that does not scale when it comes to operations, because you need to like streamline as much as possible. And scheduling will always be one of the biggest challenges of our business. Like, it's complicated. It's like a Tetris puzzle. And if all of a sudden you're letting the cleaners do that and just being and not saying you can't be flexible. We're incredibly flexible, but it needs to be like standard. Like, okay, you work 3 days a week and these are the shifts that you are available. That means we can book you. And that's that. You can always change that, but that's like a static change, right?
Yes.
That's how we go about like being very flexible, but also like, you got to be able to give that security to your clients so that you're not changing it all the time. Because I'd imagine your partner was having to like change a lot of things on clients when it came to scheduling, because the cleaners, you were kind of like catering more to the cleaners than the clients. And I'm not saying don't do that, but it's like a balance,
It was a balance. Well, for a long time, it worked very well, because what happened was we already set up the schedules. So the cleaners already, there is cleaners that sometimes we didn't talk with them for like a month, because the schedule was so perfect. The client didn't, unless the client canceled or changed something, they already had their schedule, and it was just a rotation. So it was good. But as we grew, we start to feel like where we're going to put these new clients, where we're going to do with, one-time cleanings and all of that. So we felt that, and also they as independent cleaners, they wanted to grow too. So they wanted to, their schedule is starting like, hey, I was going to work 5 days in a week. Now I can only work 4. And then a few months later, I can only work 3, because of course they are independent people. They wanted to have their own business as well.
Yep.
So yes, we do have people that work with us that they don't want to open a cleaning business. They wanted to only work. They don't want to deal with the client. They don't want to deal with the whole, thing that involves in a company. They just want to do their thing and go back home. That's it. But we also have people that, they're willing to grow. They are willing to get their own business, going on. We're okay with that. We support that. We want them to grow too. And, any advice and tips that we can do, we don't find them as a competitor just because you wanted to grow your own thing. Of course, we do have rules and things that we need to.
I was just going to ask, I was like, okay, have you ever had a independent contractor steal a client then?
We never, but we had situations. We had one cleaner that, I don't know if you guys are aware of buying, like she bought a cleaning business.
Sure.
A small one. So she bought a whole schedule business for her. And she said, hey, I'm not going to be able to work for you guys after past month, like after August. And cause I bought my own schedule. So I'm going to leave the company. And I said, not a problem at all. Once she left, we started doing our process, transitioning her clients to the new team. We had one specific client that said, I don't want you guys. I want her. And we just let this client go. Before, especially my partner, we had this thing about like, oh my goodness, the cleaner is going to steal. I'm super chill about that. Because you know what? It's client. We can control clients. If she's going to cancel with me to work with her, she's going to cancel with me to go with any other cleaning company, any other big competitor, a franchise, anyone. So let her go to my old cleaning. I don't care about that. I think it's different when a cleaner does something, that violate the terms of the cleaning, like she directly approach the client or she leave the flyer or something inside of her, the client. While working with us, she advertised herself to the neighbors during hours period. This is not allowed here. But if a client just, want to let us go and is going to hire somebody else, what is the difference if she is hiring our old lady or a new client? It's not our client anymore. So I think having that open mentality too, it's kind of like it makes you less freak out about what's going on.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And focusing on what you can control and putting out the best possible service you can and making that so professional and remembering that, the clients, like what we can provide as companies that, as we're growing and some of you, like I may be talking to, may be that little, you're just starting out or you're cleaning for somebody else or something like that right now. What people really, really enjoy is professionalism, prompt communication, those types of things. A lot of times individual cleaners or smaller outfits can't provide that because you're in the field. And like, I know for myself, like I was in the field, I was cleaning, I was like in a house, cleaning in a bathroom and like texting and emailing back other clients because I didn't have anybody in the office because I knew I was like, I have to seem as professional as possible, even though I am physically cleaning right now. And I do not have an office person,
That's exactly how I felt when I needed to say, hey, I need to stop doing the cleaning. Like I had a helper and at the end of the day, the helper was doing pretty much everything because half of my day I was on the phone answering, picking. And you know how it is. If you don't answer right away, you're losing for your competitor.
You're losing and you feel so frustrated because you're like, I'm losing money right now. Like that call is gone. And I also felt so frazzled trying to handle that stuff while I'm in the field. Like I don't, and then I wasn't organized either because, okay, I just verbally set a price. It's gone. Like, and I also I wasn't doing call recording at the time either. So it just, me retaining that information was so impossible. And that's where, obviously having like ZenMaid was very useful. I could add the notes in the app right there. But either way, my operations were definitely messy while I was in the field because it just is what it is. And I know that you guys definitely made a lot of big leaps and bounds operationally. And what I mean by that, guys, if you're like, what does that mean? I mean, like, how do they run the business day to day to make it smoother? And Dayane had some really big growth spurts when it came to that because it sounds like you were pretty stuck when it came to like running the business. You were doing everything by paper, right? All of the scheduling.
Yes. I had a picture with my partner a few years ago. We had like 4 calendars at the table, like paper calendars. It was a mess. And not only losing money, you mentioned about losing money, during the day, but, we forget things. And then we talked with a client and then you start cleaning a bathroom again. And then all of a sudden you forget to put this client on the schedule. You forget to answer back that client. Client asks you to do something extra and you just answer yes, but then you didn't put it on file.
It's gone. It's literally gone. Yep.
Our mind doesn't hold all that information. We're going to forget things. So the process, make it easier for you. Not only like using ZenMaid was a big thing for us. Like for us, it's everything because we can remember. We're going to forget things, even from the clients, for the girls, from the scheduling, from, all the details that we can put the information out there and centralize all of this. And of course, today we use other softwares as well that helps us, create the balance and make sure that everything else is running okay. But definitely ZenMaid has been like a huge part of it.
Oh yeah. And just like stopping, like guys, stop expecting yourself to remember everything like that. It's silly. Like don't put that pressure on yourself. Just put tools in place so that you can. Like for example, like yesterday, one of my managers, Katie, she had messaged me in Slack and she was like, "Hey, I need help with this thing." And I happened to be out getting groceries at the time, but I opened the message and I was like, "Yep, I can help you with that." And then I took a moment and said, "That's going to get forgotten," because I just said yes, it's gone in my mind. And I'm sure like you guys can all relate to that. And so instead I was like, "Hey, Katie, when these types of things comes up, can you please add that as a task in ClickUp?" That's what I use for my task management software. Basically my to-do list and organizing my life is in ClickUp. And if it's not in ClickUp, I'm like, it doesn't exist in my mind. And so I was just like asking somebody else to like, it's not really much work, more work for her. She just has to like, instead of messaging me, just put it there and she has access to it. And so it's like there are so many simple fixes to making your lives easier, whether that be if you constantly are texting or emailing the same things, save it as a template in your email provider, whether that be Outlook or Gmail or whatever. And then you can just use it over and over again, guys. Or, we try to avoid phone calls as much as possible so that we have that like written chain of communication. And literally ZenMaid is always up so that we have, okay, somebody said something, add the note, just add the note and do not go to the next thing until you add that note because it's going to get forgotten and then you're going to feel terrible. Like I remember like I was a waitress for like 7 years and I remember waking up in the night being like, I forgot the ketchup or the ranch for table 7 like hours later. And it's like the same thing.
It's when we're in the field and we're like, did we wash this? Did I forget to put something like in the bathroom? Like
hopefully the client doesn't notice.
Did I lock the client's door? There's always a question.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, with your curling iron at home, like you go back and check it like 7 times if you actually did that thing. And so just stop giving yourself like anxiety attacks, guys. I mean, we already get it enough from having employees. Like that is an anxiety attack, is having staff members and dealing with a bunch of nonsense, even if you have great ones. Like I'm sure you have plenty of instances where you're like, why are you like this? Why are you doing this? Because that definitely happens to us all the time, shockingly. And it's just the name of the game is dealing with frustration. So all of this to say, guys, make it as easy as possible on yourself. And Dayane, you sound to be doing that, much. Every single year, it sounds like you're doing that much better, than the last year.
No, thank you. We do know we have an internal process really well. And now, for a long time, we just thought we're just, doing our thing. And then we realized, no, this is a team's culture that we created and we didn't know it was, the retention for the cleaner is like, okay, yes, we did a transition, but we already can feel, and we already know at the end of the year, we're going to have, these feelings. And I think it was a lot of small little things that we added, meetings with the cleaners, like having those, not every month, but, specific months of the year, try to connect with this cleaner. It's helping them, getting to know them, the verbiage, the way, the most big issue that I see when we hire someone, every single person that comes to us that has previously worked to another cleaning business, they said the way that we got treated in the other place was bad. Yeah. So it's like sometimes you just need to understand your person, like your employee or your contractor, whoever is working for you. You need to understand it's the love language. It's the communication. It's the way you're going to approach, the way you're going to communicate, talk their language, and you're going to have like a way more better approach. Even if you're like, oh, but I do things this way, but you need to, yes, but there is a way that you need to talk so they can understand. And when I mean that, I mean it. Like it is real. There is a way that you need to talk to those people to understand what you want. And yes, maybe you have your own personality. So maybe you're not the person that you need to be with the cleaners. Like right here in the company, we have a specific person to deal with the cleaners because she knows the language. She knows how to deal with them. Sometimes it's not for everybody to deal just because you're the owner. Sometimes you don't know.
Doesn't mean, 100%. And I love that. Like anybody who's like, well, that's just the way I am and they need to take it or leave it. That sounds like a failure of a manager right there. And if you want to be like a leader, which is truly like I know like leadership, it's like, oh, what is leadership? It's a million tiny little skills all bundled together. And I can, right off the top of my head, I can think of several failed absolute leadership moments of mine where I had a Stephanie moment and put foot in mouth where this is moving faster than this. And I deeply hurt some of my staff members' feelings, and other leaders might have not apologized or whatever. And so basically I'm saying, guys, like, don't be so above like your cleaner just because you are technically the boss or the leader. Have some humility, apologize when you're wrong, and they will respect you ever more for it, you know, and having their respect, I think, is the most important thing. And that respect means sometimes, yes, being tough love and hold, you know, having that high standard, and not just always being their friend, but you never demean, you know, like what you just said of your cleaners having really bad experiences at other businesses, probably being treated very poorly or like beneath them. And respect your people. And just how we have all been disrespected because we've been cleaners for the most part, or in some type of service industry. A lot of my staff have come from the healthcare industry where they have been treated very disrespectfully, ran down, can never do anything right, it seems, because the target is always moving for them of, okay, you did this, okay, but now do this better or whatever. And so, I just feel that you have a really good understanding of what leadership is, and that, having some humility is very important.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, it's the small details too, you know, sometimes it's not just the huge bad thing, but the little touch here and there that they appreciate that we pay attention to this, you know, even if sometimes when they make a mistake, yes, we're going to talk about that mistake, but there is a way that we can, you know, we also are like, we're all humans, don't worry, it's fine. And they're like, oh, it's fine. Like, yeah, come on. Like, it should be good. Next time, pay more attention. But bring, you know, the way that you talk, you can bring the people up, or you can really put the person, you know? So it's just like, when we talk about flexibility, it's not just when like, oh, but I'm a cool person. Are you really? Or you're just like sometimes, or when because especially when situation comes, we tend to just freak out. You receive a big complaint. How do you treat that? Because sometimes if it makes us scared, imagine for them. And if you show up that you're like stressed about a situation that just happened, and you're going to be like, oh my goodness, we need to call the insurance. We need to do this and that. They already feel tense, and they do not sometimes. So we need to know how to separate, you know, the stress and the tense of dealing with clients. Because we heard something from the client doesn't mean that we need to give it to them. Because sometimes we do hear from clients, you know, but so we need to separate things and, you know, address it correctly. I think that's the major thing.
Well, and having some empathy too of like, okay, most of us have not all been self-employed since birth. We've worked at other places. Do we do well when somebody is just shaming us for a mistake that we made, especially if we can change in the future? If this is not like an irrevocable mistake, you missed something, you broke something, right? Like, how would you feel if somebody's just like freaking out at you for that? You know, it wouldn't be very effective. And then we're coming at it from a place of fear. And I don't want anybody to be afraid of me. Like, I want, you know, this to be, like this partnership of like, and that's why I think vision and sharing your vision and being very motivating to your team is so important of like, listen, like, this is why we're doing this, that like, and giving them the importance of the job. And then when we mess up, it's like, hey, like, this is not, you know, this isn't the end of the world, but, you know, it doesn't align with what the vision is, and kind of collaboratively like, okay, we're having issues with cleaning XYZ. Well, this is just a problem to tackle. And we actually share all of our complaints as a team, but never who did them, right? So it's more so like, hey, we got 3 complaints last week. These are that. So how can we avoid the, like, what's the problem? Why are we having these? And then we all kind of work together. And then in private, we have those like, hey, this, like, can you give us more context? Like, why did this happen? Always coming from a place of curiosity first, because we definitely have came in hot before, not understanding that there was context missing, from the cleaner of like, oh, the client's husband told you not to do that. And we just came in and said, what, you were supposed to do this and we didn't know, or, it's that communication,
Yeah, no, we always say here for our clients to our cleaners when we hire, and all the time, this is like our phrase of the day. Every day we say this: communication is the key, always. I think the good customer service that we have, it's because we have good communication. I think the relationship we have with our cleaners, it's because we have a good communication. It's like we're very transparent with everything, all the details. There is nothing, we don't hide anything from anyone, even when we're trying to solve situations. And of course, we have my partner, we have, other people working, and they wanted to send something private to me, and sometimes not a private message, but like, oh, Dayane, I want to talk about this with you. I said, let's talk on the group chat. Everybody needs to know you're because they work at teams at 2. So your other person needs to know too. We don't need to hide anything here. We need to talk, openly. There is no secrets. So
that builds trust. Like they must trust you guys because of that open communication and also giving the reasoning behind it. Because I know a lot of people don't have buy-in on things unless you explain the reason why. So it's like, there's a reason why you're putting, a policy in place, or you're behaving in the way you are. So it's just like, the reason this is a big deal, guys, is because of XYZ. Like, we're still having issues with, people using products that the clients assign. So for us, that makes us, not OSHA compliant. So, okay. Once we started tying the dollar, like last week in our meeting, we're like, okay, if we get an OSHA violation, it's this much money, $20,000 minimum, or whatever the fine is. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, this is why they keep harping on this, because there goes everybody's Christmas bonuses. Not really, but I mean, it would affect things greatly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And like it's so crazy about how we also need to, focus on the trust, like building this thing of our relationship. It's very big for us here, because a lot of times it's not that we don't trust the clients, but it's so different people out there, sometimes people try to take advantage of us.
Oh yeah.
So I think a lot of the cleaners that came from other companies too, they feel that the owners give the client credit for things, which don't get me wrong, we do too.
The benefit of the doubt, where maybe it's the client who is being unethical.
And we honestly, we try to work with the client, and but we always tell the cleaners, it's not because we agreed with the client that we agreed with what they're saying and telling that you're lying. There is a line here for us. So it's not because I told them that we agreed on something that I actually agreed with them. So sometimes it's just more a customer service trying to just make things work and make peace. But at the end of the day, I honestly think sometimes people should give the cleaners more credit. They're there, they know the situation. And if you build this trust, they are willing to work better with you than if you don't, because they'll be like, what matters? They're going to not listen to us anyway, so it doesn't matter to them.
And honestly, it's like, when somebody labels you as something, a lot of times then it's like, well, why even bother? Maybe I will do this thing then, because it doesn't matter it's just like when you do have a bad egg in the group and you see that, and your employees see you seeing that and not doing anything, your best people are all of a sudden going to just not give a shit anymore, because it's like, why bother trying when that person over there is getting away with these things? It just plummets your entire workplace culture. And so I also love that you said, like, when new people have been coming in, like your current staff members are really showcasing your team to the best, like they're basically championing you. That's a tough word. And So that happens with us too, of like the newbies come in and the old seasoned pros, they're like, oh, this place is great. Like never had a place like this, blah, blah, blah. So they're kind of like selling you as an employer.
Yes.
And that only happens if it's real, like otherwise they're like, I've seen workplaces where like you come in and be like, oh, good luck. Like I wouldn't come here. Like I'm stuck now, but I want, you don't want that.
And that's the first impression. You need to have that. Otherwise you're already put a fear, and the person was like, I think I shouldn't accept this offer. I think I shouldn't be here, So it started over there. I think it's very, very important.
And I saying that, I don't want to encourage you guys to then let things slide, because I think you might have just heard that and be like, oh, I just have to be super nice and like not, bring the hammer down or whatever. And it's like the whole being nice versus being kind, like, and that was something I struggled with a lot in the beginning with staff members, especially, is like, I just wanted them to like me. I wanted to be nice, but they definitely took advantage of that and saw that weakness and pounced and did a lot of things that I would not permit now. And just that firmness and boundaries of like, you can be super kind, but that means being really clear what the expectations are. And, that is something I remember seeing that you had put of like, just being really clear, like 100% of the time, what is the expectation? Because then you can just point at that and being like, hey, like you're doing this. This is what the expectation is. Like there's some misalignment here. And there's nothing mean about that. Like that's not mean.
100%. I agreed with that. And, we make that clear from the interview. And one thing about, I think one of the errors or mistakes that cleaners owners will do is they're so desperate to hire people that they're just going to hire everyone or most. They're selecting. Are you really, do you know what is the person that you want to have in your company working? Do you already, made a checklist of things that you wanted to see in the people that it's working with you, or you just wanted to have someone working because you are desperate to have, your business growing and you just want to hire everyone? Our business is not for every cleaner, on the interview. And honestly, having cleaning experience, it's the least. I don't even care if the person
we actually don't want it, because that means they probably learned bad habits from other companies.
Well, if they have some previous, we're even saying,
it's okay, but
it's good to know something, it's different than clean your own house. Absolutely. But there is a big issue about hiring people, because I always say that to everyone in the company and for everyone that knows me, you need to hire the character, not the skills, because character you can change. The personality, the attitude, someone that can smile all the time, someone with a good vibe, you can't hire that, or you can change that.
You can't change it. Yep. You can teach cleaning, but just the core values. And so how would you suggest to our listeners to like, okay, that sounds great, Dayane. How do I figure that out when I'm interviewing them? Like, how do I figure out that they have these character traits?
I think it's honestly very easy to find out when you know what you're looking for. Especially if you already have someone like that in your team. Like if you have few people in your team, they're like, I wanted people like that. You already can do. If you do an interview and you do a test on field, 101 with the person, and you start drawing what this person is. This person more approachable? How does the person react when you correct some mistakes? During the teaching, you can make notes of things that is happening over there. That's how you learn. Okay, this person overreacted when I did something. I told the person, hey, you forgot this here. And the person was like, oh, no, I was going to do it. No, come down. It's okay. Those people that you see that it's like very close-minded, that you see that, their approach for things, they're overreacting, they're super anxious about every single thing. And, or you see already that they're hesitant to feel things, and they're like, their facial expression. Learn about that. Study a little bit about people. Try to read some books or videos online and how to read people. We need to learn a little bit of how to read people. As business owners, I think it's the same to learn even about the clients, So during the 101, you can really see is this person willing to follow the rules of the company, or is this person more like is going to give a little bit of trouble? If you feel that is going to give a little bit of trouble, don't even hire, because at the end of week 2 is going to be a problem. The second thing is to have a train on field and with your trainer, because cleaning business is a thing that, you need to be on local with them. I don't have the ability anymore to be every day with our cleaners out there. So you have your trainer right now, the person will be able to tell you. And she gave us the feedbacks. Hey, the way that they walked inside of the clients, the way that they act outside the clients, this speaks of volumes for us. Is this person listening music out loud? It's picking up the phone, talking about their personal problems while during the cleaning. There is, things that you can
swearing in front of clients, or even, there's so many things. And we literally have a feedback form that we have the trainee and the trainer fill out at the end. And that's really helped us catch these little things that maybe otherwise they wouldn't share because they feel like they're snitching, and tattletaling, if you will. But truly, if you can catch these things in the beginning, it's only going to waste money, time, and your potential business, your what people hear and think of you, because they're hurting your reputation. And so a lot of times also I find that people can put on a really good face for the owner and try to schmooze us, impress us. But then when they get with somebody they see more as an equal, they put their guard down and they actually show who they are.
Absolutely.
And looking back at I find something that's really helpful is, we have interviews, et cetera, et cetera. Now that we've had so many failed staff members or people that left or whatever, we have all these different categories of why somebody didn't make it or they quit or whatever. And a lot of it has to do with personality, behavior, ethics, morals, etc. And so now it's ooh, they're giving me XYZ vibes. They're acting just like this person acted. And you start to see patterns, because there's patterns in behavior, right? Of oh, interesting. Every time that they get a complaint, they call in for days after, or they give you, back talk or whatever. And you start to see these patterns in behavior, and not meaning that those can't be corrected, but if you can just avoid a bunch of problems from the get-go by waiting and hiring better. And I think it's really hard, especially in the beginning. Heck, not even just the beginning. It still takes a lot of discipline for us, and something that we've had to learn the hard way again and again of just because you desperately need a body doesn't mean the wrong body is going to solve the problem. Actually, it's going to make it worse, and you're probably going to be a lot more discouraged. So it's just it sucks to have to wait when you have all these clients who want you. You got this wait list, or you're feeling all of this pressure to fill this spot, but it's the wrong person isn't going to solve the problem. They're actually going to make it worse and cause you a bunch more stress and probably lose you business. So it's just wait. And I'm saying that to myself too, just wait.
But honestly, as sometimes people that is listening to us right now, they're like, oh, but do you have a hard process? It's not. Honestly, as simple as it is, it's your feeling. You need to know, as long as you know what you're looking for, trust your gut too. Sometimes, maybe you're losing someone that could be a potential good cleaner for you. Maybe, but maybe you're going to, you know your company, you're dealing with people daily. With over time, you already know,
it's a muscle that you grow. Yeah. And I think being that we started younger too, we also just don't know people as well when you're younger and you're starting, or even if you've just never had this type of experience before. But I know, I again, that naivete or people being able to kind of easily trick me, if you will, or just tell me what I wanted to hear, and then for me to ignore the red flags. We're now the longer you go at this, guys, the more discerning that you get, and you do learn to you can feel your gut. You can feel that something's, and you may ignore it, but it's there. I promise.
And I think once you know those red flags that, you're those things, write it down, because otherwise you won't just remember those things, for the process of hiring. Because yes, you need to follow the emotions, but it can be based on emotions. You're hiring. It needs to be through the process. So So as long as you start writing this and you have, you know, it needs to meet these kind of requirements, and okay, the person passed. And even if it was a good pass, because like you said, in front of an interview, the person can put it on a face, but on the field, they're going to really show, you know, how they're working and how they're doing and everything. So I think, and especially don't let the bad things happen for too long. If you're seeing a cleaner, doesn't matter if you just hired today or it's already 6 months in with you guys. If it's starting to give you trouble, you put this cleaner with team A, team B, team C, you know, and doesn't work with anyone, the problem is the person. You need to let it go. You know, we need to start being more, understanding, I guess, of, you know, the field, because the field is having client, it's very important. Yes, you can do business without the client, but if you don't have a good team on the field, what is the point to have clients if you don't have good people, you know? So I think the hiring process is way more critical to think about and to work about it and have a culture team inside of your company that's really well, even if you're just starting, but think about what you want to the future, you know, make a board and think about what do I feel that my company wants to be in the future, even if it's only you working right now. Cause I thought that when I just started, and I was only by myself, I always thought like, okay, when I have teams, I want people to be, you know, excited about doing this. I want them to be excited to just join me, you know, to be by my side. I want them to be proud to say, hey, I work for her. You know, when we work together, we're a team here. We do everything together. If my cleaners, like yesterday, one of my cleaners, she had a car problem with the insurance car. She doesn't speak English. And I said, give me the phone number. I'm going to call for you. I'm going to help you out. You know, those things, be there for them too. And I'm sure they're going to, it gives back, you know, it's kind of, it's like karma. It comes back to you, and it's just something that's out there. I'm just giving you a small little example, but it's, you know, it's the empathy that we need to have on those situations. We had a cleaner since we started the company for 3 years, and she was always late. She was always late, no matter what. We started booking the clients on the different time and didn't tell her. And so let's say we book the client for 9 and we tell her 8, so she shows up at 9. But she was such a good person, you know, such a good person, such a good soul. But she had this problem, and we tried to work with her. We called her attention. We told her, hey, you need to get better on this. What's going on? But you know, when she ended up leaving to a better job last year, which we're very happy for her. But the message that we received from her, you know, it made me cry, because it's those things that you're like, she was like, thank you very much for dealing with my BS for this whole time.
They realize how good they have it when they go to another job. And we've got I know exactly what you mean, because not everybody's going to be accommodating. And it sounds like she may have had maybe ADHD, where time blindness is a total thing.
And you know, then she was telling me, she was like, why is she sending this message? She's herself start crying over the message. Like, she sent an audio message thanking us. And she was saying like, I have 3 kids. I'm by myself. She has 3 kids. I think 1 is 4. The other 2 was under 2. And she was like, it was extremely hard to me to deal with everything. I know no one is responsible for her, you know, for her life and it's her things. But at the end of the day, it's, yes, could we just let her go? Yeah, we could. We could, definitely. But sometimes it's not just about that. You need to just know what it's the deals that you have or not. For us, it wasn't a big deal just to, you know, change the schedule here and there for adjust for her, because we knew she was struggling a lot.
Well, she was trying to get him to school, and that's why, like, for us, we bumped up all of our, you know, house cleaning start typically like maybe half hour later than most would, or I don't know what is typical in other businesses, I suppose, but that was like such an easy decision of like, okay, this doesn't affect anybody at all, like financially, like meaning for us to bump all the appointments back half an hour. And all of our staff members, or 99% of them, are parents, and probably the one taking them to school or dealing with the morning routine, et cetera. So it's like, if you can do something across the board that makes somebody's life easier and doesn't affect you, do it. Of course, do it, you know, and they're going to appreciate it.
And when we talk about this, it's like, there is so many things that comes to the company while we're doing that. Like, when you're hiring people and you start growing groups, try to pay attention to those things. Don't put together a person that needs to pick up a kid, like you have a team of two, and you have one person that needs to pick up a kid at 5 and the other one wants to work until midnight because they want to make money. You need to group people correctly, like involve so many details that you need to pay attention so people can be happy. Sometimes they're not happy because they're like, well, I wanted to make money, but my partner here love her to work with her, but she needs to be, at home at 4 because of, her schedule, which is good, but group that person with somebody else that needs to be there or almost the same time or willing to work with that. Because that way you have people more happier too. So if we need to adjust those in our schedule, we'll do. Because I think it's easier for us. If the cleaners are happy, we're happy, our clients will be extremely happy too. So it's better.
Oh, that is like the perfect encompassing lesson here, guys. I would say words of wisdom is if your cleaners are happy, they're going to take care of your clients. Happy clients get you more clients. Happy cleaners get you more cleaners. So it's just that's why focusing so heavily on taking care of your staff, not getting taken advantage of, but truly having this respectful partnership and seeing it as we're working together to accomplish a goal and nobody's better than anybody else. It's just we're working together and we're coming at it from different angles. We need every single hand on deck, and everybody has different skill sets. So, Dayane, clearly you guys are doing so wonderfully. And this has been really, really educational and also inspiring because you care. It's so evident that you care. So I appreciate you taking the time. Is there a way that our listeners could find you or follow along with your business's journey?
Actually through social media, if they would like to.
But, we can link it.
I'm actually starting to post more things out there because I wasn't, super huge on social media, but I'm trying to because I think it's nice to share.
It is nice to share, and it can be lonely. So it's fun to connect with other cleaning business owners, especially who are, at the same level and kind of help each other with the same challenges that we face. So thank you, Dayane. We'll definitely link your business website, your social medias in the bio. And I hope we can talk again. This was so fun. Time just flew by.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I really hope, our conversation can bring some insights, ideas in people's mind, because that's what I wish I had when I started to, just some conversation, real talk, not, because business, I think it's about the learning the real thing. You can study the formal stuff as long as you want, but it's on the real stuff that the thing gets serious.
Yep, absolutely. Those practical little tidbits. And I would love to hear you guys in the comments below. Let us know what your favorite moment in this conversation was. Anything Dayane said that really sparked an aha for you. I would love to hear it. And of course, thank you for listening to Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. I hope to see you in the next episode. And give this a like, hit that subscribe, and share this with your cleaning business friends because we all could use a little bit more community. Thanks, guys. See you next time.